Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast College Football Edition. Today, we are going to be talking about week one of college football that just happened over the weekend. We're going to be talking about OSU's win over Indiana, some other big games over the weekend, and some games to look forward to this week. We got the college football crew. We got Mr. Cedric Ware, anime expert, founder, L7C. How you doing today, man?
Doing all right, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to have you on today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
Sir, and then we got the captain, Mr. Byron Mitchell. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's always a great day when I can hop on and talk about some OSU football.
Yeah, and before we talk about OSU football, definitely haven't been able to say this on a pod with you two on here, but again, happy 3-year anniversary.
Happy 3-year anniversary.
Years, man.
It's gone by fast.
Flown by.
Since that first episode mentioned, the first episode the three of us did, our iconic Power Ranger one. I mean, so that was in person too. From that to all the content we got now, man, it's been crazy and more to come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looking forward to this third year.
So for everyone who's listening to our college football pods, you know how it goes. Byron starts us off with some stats. Cedric comes in, what he liked, didn't like, and then we go from there. So Byron, take it away.
All right. So our first game of the season was against Indiana. Offensively, we did struggle for a majority of the game, especially our O-line. But Kyle McCord, he got the start. He went 20 for 33 for 239 yards. He had an interception. Devin Brown played a little bit. He had 1 for 3 for -2 yards. Then our running backs, Chip Trainum, had most of the yardage. He had 8 carries for 57 yards. Travion Henderson, 12 carries for 47 yards. Maya Williams, 7 carries for 25 yards. For our receiving core, Cade Stover, our tight end, had most of the yardage. 5 receptions, 98 yards. Julian Fleming, 6 receptions, 58 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 receptions, 18 yards. He would have had a touchdown, but he stepped out before he caught the ball. So that touchdown was called back. And then Emeka Ibuka, 3 receptions, 16 yards. Pretty much the star of our offense was Jaden Felding, which is our kicker. He did 3 for 3, hitting from 40 and then 22 twice. So he scored most of our points in the game. And then Maya Williams had 2 touchdowns. Forget to say that. But our O-line wasn't really getting that push against Indiana, but Indiana was playing us tough. So we'll see how our offense does against our next opponent, Youngstown State. Our defense looked good. We only allowed 84 passing yards and 11 rushing yards from Indiana. The deepest pass Indiana had was about 24 yards. But before I super praise the defense, I need to see if it's going to be consistent this year.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Cedric, what you like? What'd you see? What didn't you like? Go ahead.
Man, I like Chip. Chip was cool. It was good to see him get some touches out there. Cade Stover, honestly, amazing game for him. I thought he was going to run one in on that nice pass seam right up the middle. Kyle McCord wasn't bad. I mean, I was nervous. Definitely some moments there in the game when he was playing, but for all the people out there who remember CJ's first game and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be terrible. We're just going to suck. And then we didn't suck. So I'm not going to write a yay or a nay for him yet. I'm just happy to see that he made some really good throws in the game. So I'm hoping that continues and it wasn't just a benefit of Indiana's defense not being top tier and our offense just having better pieces. Didn't like, honestly, I didn't like the hesitant run game. I feel like out of all the positions outside of the receivers, which even them, they can only produce when they get the ball thrown to them. But for our running backs, like, this is it. Like, y'all been here for a minute. So I was a little disappointed in Henderson, but it is what it is. defense, like Byron said, I'm not going to praise them. Yeah, I mean, it's Indiana. Like, no offense, Indiana, but you guys are a high-power offense. Like, so we'll see. I saw Denzel Burke talking shit when this guy has 0 tackles this game, so that's interesting. Talking about how he wants to bring back the silver bullets, but okay, guy, you had no tackles, so that'll be great. I can't wait to see it. I would love to see that. Bring him back, sure, why not?
Yeah, and you said that he was mad that they even scored 3 points. They wanted them to have 0.
It would have been nice, but hey, defense gave up some yardage.
I'll just say this. Denzel, I would have loved to see us score 40 points. But you know what? I'll take the 28-point game and us getting the dub. First game of the season, I'll take it.
Yeah, because it's funny how you brought up the CJ Stroud thing. And if you want to look back a couple years ago in the L7C history, you can look back and there was a titled episode saying, remember when we told you guys to relax on CJ Stroud? You want to go back in the history vault of the L7C, there is a podcast episode about that. So I think with Ohio State fans, especially, the norm, which is becoming the crazy ones. Every game we're comparing ourselves to what's out there, to an Alabama, to a Georgia, to a Michigan. And like you said, man, this is just first start. We got to take it one game at a time. Obviously, I wasn't thrilled that it was a game going into halftime, that it was only 10-3, but it got to the point where I was like, all right, the starters are going to play in the fourth quarter. Might as well just get this win, get out of here, and go from there. I mean, at least we got a Big Ten win out of it too in the Big Ten East. So 1-0 in the East right now, and it's just there's a lot of kinks that got to be worked out, which is good. You don't want to be perfect at the beginning of the year, but we all know. I mean, what this team looks like at the end of the month at Notre Dame at night, prime time. That's when we might know something.
Facts.
But we are starting the year of OSU not covering. Just saying.
The
funny thing is, I took them to cover too, and I was.
God bless your soul.
I mean, I learned last year. Too. I was like, listen, we'll get the win. We may not cover, but we'll get the fucking win.
Yeah, it is tough when you're getting these 30-point freaking spreads, 30+ point spreads. It is rough, and I don't even think they haven't even posted a odds for the Youngstown State game, who we are playing this Saturday, 12:00, Youngstown State. Cedric, what are you looking for these games are they should be over by halftime, but what are you looking for the Buckeyes to improve in this Youngstown State game?
Honestly, I just want some more consistency with the passing game. Like, I think the running game is always going to be there for us. That's kind of like our fallback and our change of pace. Like, if things aren't going great for passing, we always start the game off, get our offense going by moving the ball on the ground. But I would like to see Kyle McCord just get more comfortable. Like, I would love to see Marvin Harrison actually get that first touchdown of the season, start things off, get it going. And Emeka Egbuka just to get involved as well. I mean, Jordan Fleming to get involved. Like, we have a very talented receiving core, not to be, for lack of better terms, airing people out like that. Like, it's difficult to cover us. There's always an option somewhere, and I just want us to get kind of comfortable in that offense. That's why I would love to see, especially with, no offense to Youngstown State, I don't expect them to have any outstanding, crazy defensive schemes or anything like that should cause us any type of difficulty. So I'd love for us to take an opportunity with that in this next game.
Byron, anything to add on that?
No, I 100% agree with that. I just want more receptions for our star receivers, and I think our offense will have a bounce back game. So I think, like Cedric said, just Kyle McCord being more consistent. I know we're starting him, and then Devin Brown get some playing time as well. So we'll see how that goes against Youngstown State.
Yeah, because Devin Brown only played 2 plays, 1 play.
I thought he's got
one series, one series, or
one
one
series,
play? One series.
Yeah, one series.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he would have played more, but we were in a game.
Yeah,
that's true.
Ryan Day said it in his presser, he felt like he had to do what was best to win. I was like, oh yeah, we were in a game, but I agree with you guys. I don't really have any much to add. Is this what are you expecting score wise in this game?
Last time I said like 45-21. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna go 28-3. Just play it safe.
Okay, Cedric.
I was gonna say 35-10, maybe.
Okay. I'll go 37. I think they'll get a TD, a late one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, besides Ohio State, obviously there's a lot of college football going on this week one. Some of the big storylines that happened this past weekend. Guys, do you believe, as Coach Prime says, do you guys believe in Colorado pulling off the upset in TCU, 45-42 win over the national champ runner-ups? Obviously, our guy who we like, Max Dugan, he's not there. He's a professional. A lot of their players went to the league. It wasn't the same team. But nevertheless, Coach Prime went in there. His son balled out. Travis Hunter, who people forgot was the number 1 recruit in his class who followed Coach Prime. Coach Prime told those old Colorado players he's coming with some luggage. It's in Louis, so y'all better transfer out now. And they transferred out, and 80 players came in, and they're 1-0. So, Byron, what do you think of Colorado?
Man, Colorado looked very, very impressive. Like you said, Shedeur Sanders had a breakout game, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. They had 4 receivers over 100 yards. Like I said, Travis Hunter did like both offense and defense. Offensively, he had like 11 receptions, 119 yards, 3 tackles, and an interception. Dylan Edwards, had the most yardage, 135 yards and 3 TDs. So they were firing on all cylinders, which is crazy because both teams had less than 25% of their roster returned from last season. But TCU did give them a fight. Like you said, the score is 45-42. So Colorado going on like a last walk home TD. But it was a great game to watch.
Cedric, how you feeling about Colorado? This team, before the season started, for betting people, they were only picked to win 2 games. You could have got an over/under of 2.5 games for good money. And now, obviously, since this win has jumped to like 6 to 9 games, like, how'd you feel about Coach Prime in Colorado?
I think it was an amazing first game. Like, I can't even say like first win. It was an amazing first game. I mean, you come in, you overhaul the entire program. I mean, like Byron said, less than 25% from both of these teams. But I think it's more impressive with Colorado because I believe last year they won, 1 game?
Yep, they won 1 game.
Mm-hmm. So they're already at it. And it's against a ranked team, a team that was in the college football playoff that made it as a runner-up. Mm-hmm. Even though they may not have all the same people, Bad Max Dugan, Quentin Johnson, like that's fine. But people were still counting out Colorado in this game. Like, and the fact that I'm not even that worried that they didn't like hold them down to like low points. Like TCU scores, but the fact that you kept up with score with them. I mean, 4 touchdowns passing, no picks, over 500 yards passing. You got a guy on your team who's playing receiver and corner, over 100 snaps in college football. Like that's insane to me. I think that's amazing. I really am interested to see just what they do. I want to see them play more of the Pac-12 teams, just to see what they can do with this conference with that last year kind of in there. Because I'm curious how they stack up. Because they're definitely not shy in their offense. They show they can score the ball, and so I want to see how they deal with other high power offenses in that conference. Because I think it'd honestly be amazing games to watch. So I look forward to the rest of their season.
Yeah, and they got the big noon kickoff game that past Saturday against TCU. They get the big noon kickoff game again against Big Ten Nebraska. And Cedric, you brought up the Pac-12 and when they play. I'm already going to get the podcast ready. Week 4, September 23rd. Colorado will be playing Oregon at Oregon.
That's going to be a great game because Oregon just went off this past game. They had 81 points.
So there's a couple of big games on that 23rd. Already looking week 4, just giving y'all the know-how. Colorado at Oregon. Well, because this team we'll talk about, they lost, but they're going to be fighting for their lives on this game. Florida State at Clemson. And then obviously Ohio State versus at Notre Dame, all on the 23rd.
Oh, 3 big games week 4.
What network's those on?
Right now, all currently TBD. And then Ole Miss right now is ranked number 20. They're at Alabama.
I hope ESPN gets the Ole Miss game just so they want to take themselves off the fucking networks. Fuck you, Disney.
But that's week 4. So week 4 is looking like the first.
Man.
Clemson season's on the line in week 4.
Hold on. Let me pull up my calendar and make sure I ain't doing shit that day for sure. I was going to be watching football.
Because we're the night game on NBA. We're the night game on NBC. And then CBS night game in week 4. Iowa versus Penn State, which Penn State, they got a team over there. But just looking, this is just people ranked now. Obviously, this stuff can change, but that's going to be Colorado. They beat Oregon, and what do they get? They'll get ranked higher, but then the next week they have USC.
Hey, that'd be a fun game, though. I would like to see that. I want to see Coach Prime talking that shit about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so that would be week. That would be week 5. USC at Colorado. That's all the way in week 5, and then you got Notre Dame at Duke after. Man, they got a tough thing too. But that's back then. So speaking of what we said, Clemson's going to be playing for a lot. Florida State versus LSU was obviously the biggest game of the weekend. 2 top 10 teams. We talked about that, positioning themselves for playoffs. Halftime, it was very close. And then second half, Florida State they took over. The game was very, very sloppy. There was a lot of chances for some points, and neither team was executing at the beginning. Then Florida State just took over, and Florida State, when we toss it to Byron, Florida State with that win has jumped in the rankings. But Cedric, I know you were watching that game very closely. What did you think of this Florida State team, and do you think they can seal? I know it's only week 1. They could seal this deal and actually win the ACC.
It's week 1. I'm willing to gamble them, especially after, and I know we'll get to Clemson, but after what I saw with Clemson, I think Florida State is that front runner in that conference right now. Because you take down, yes, it's LSU, still kind of a rebuilding year, still trying to figure things out. But that's the LSU team that last year beat Alabama.
Yep. And went to the SEC championship game, won the SEC West.
There are no slouches out here. And it wasn't like they just barely beat them. I'm sorry, they beat the fuck out of them in that second half. Because it was almost like watching when Tennessee beat Alabama, where you know where the ball's going and you can't stop it. You just couldn't do anything. It was insane. Coleman, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns, and the quarterback having 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. That's just nuts. And their defense, man, came up big on a lot of stops. Mind you, it wasn't like LSU wasn't actually moving the ball at all. They were moving the ball down the field, but they just couldn't punch it in.
It's very interesting because when we toss it to Byron for the rankings, and people this debacle, and Brian Kelly saying, I guess we weren't who I thought we were. But you know how the SEC does. If you're scheduling a real big game first weekend, next weekend you got Grambling at 7:30. So hopefully they should be able to take care of that. But LSU schedule, not that great. I mean, their next Ole Miss is ranked number 20. That's on 9:30. But besides that, at Alabama, November 4th. If they can run the table and beat Alabama, they're going to be in the SEC championship game again. But now they have no room for error. They have to run the table if they want to try and make the playoff.
Yeah.
Oof.
I know. It's not. You never want to be like, well, after week one, it's if you want to get to the playoffs, you got to win the SEC West. And you know who you got. They don't play Tennessee this year, too. Because last year, they got their ass whooped by Tennessee. But they don't play them this year.
Lucky for them. Well, we'll see how Tennessee does this year, I guess.
But that's LSU's path. They know. I mean, it's rough. It's really, really rough. But Byron, what's
some things to happen?
Oh yeah, they need a lot. Byron, what's with the new things now? What's the new top 10 looking like? We all know we dropped. That's what we've dropped so many times on this podcast. I don't know the last time we went up. I really would have to listen to every college football podcast to say when's the last time we went up in rankings.
Well, the closest that was when Utah did us that favor.
That's true. Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
Shout out to Utah. The new top 10 as of today, we have Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Alabama number 3, Florida State number 4, us, Ohio State at 5, USC at 6, Penn State 7, Washington 8, Tennessee 9, and then rounding out the top 10, Notre Dame at 10.
Okay. And biggest jump was Florida State went to 4, so they jumped us.
Yeah.
And then Colorado went from unranked to top 25.
Yep, they are 22, and then Duke went from unranked to 21. And then Clemson dropped from 9 to 25.
And Clemson, who was the number 9 team, they got the last game, the Monday night game, which is always a blessing and a curse because Monday night, you're the only game on, so everyone's watching, but you're the only game on, so everyone's watching. So everyone in the nation watching football saw what happened at Clemson. They had worse mistakes than the LSU game.
Yes, it was bad.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw Dabo. I don't even think Dabo had his hat on half the game.
No, he was like, in all my years, I've never experienced a game like this before because when they drove to the goal line and just fumbled, I'm like, all right, well. And then they ran it all the way back. All the way back.
I will say this, man, for their defense, they lost that game. Like, It wasn't like Duke was out here doing anything crazy. Like, mind you, that quarterback was having a good game. But they lost that game because, man, fumbles, missed field goals. I don't know. That kicker, they need to reevaluate some things because his kick got blocked at one time. Then he missed. Oh, man.
So we'll see what they do. I mean, they got to get it together because they got Florida State at the end of the month.
Yeah, I need them to get it together because I picked them on this podcast to win the ACC.
Oh, wow.
And they embarrassed me yesterday. I'm like, bro, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, they got
Dude missed field goals. They fumbled 3 times. Threw an interception late in the fourth quarter. Like, come on, man. It's not the ACC. I mean, it's not the Clemson we're used to.
Yeah,
they only scored in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was rough, man. That's growing pains, and now but then they can. Again, sometimes it's good to be under the radar this early because now they're officially under the radar.
That's true.
Like, ain't no one paying attention. It really don't matter till like end of October, start of November when the first college football playoff ranking come out. But if they lose again, their season's over.
I said, they still got to win.
They got to
win it all.
Yeah, they have to beat Florida State if they want to get to that. Be the ACC.
Oh yeah, that's what's going to get them back to the mid numbers.
Oh yeah, they again September 23rd. That's going to be a big day on the preview of that week's going to be, and they got to go to November 4th, probably right after the first rankings. They got to go to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's looking pretty. Notre Dame's looking pretty nice. That boy, that man Hartman's going to be like, oh, I remember y'all from when he busted him when he was at Wake Forest.
Yes, Sam Hartman.
I don't know if we could say yes because we got to play him. So let's not.
That's true.
Let's not yes him up. So they're in a world of trouble, but Florida State won that game against LSU last year and they fumbled the ACC.
Well,
that is a very good point.
Clemson didn't lose to Duke last year, so
you know what? That's a very good point. I'm actually trying to. Who did Clemson lose to last year?
They almost lost to Wake Forest.
Yeah, let me get that up really, really quickly.
Sure,
it was Notre Dame.
Oh yeah.
At Notre Dame gave them the smoking 35-14.
Oof.
And then they randomly lost to South Carolina. They lost to South Carolina by 1 point.
But that's right. Because
Spencer Rattler went off that game.
Yep, at the end of the year, November 26th. But then they beat North Carolina's ass 39-10. Went to the ACC championship game, won that. But then they got smoked by by Tennessee. So, yeah, they beat Florida State last year. But this is going to be a whole. Florida State got this stuff played. They're like, oh, we top 4 now. So we'll see in 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
In a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But there's really one big game this week.
Yes.
It is Alabama and Texas. Obviously, Alabama had their little cupcake game over the weekend. Their quarterback really looked really well, but this is going to be a lot of people's first time being able to actually watch Alabama this year. And that Texas game last year, Quinn Ewers finishes that game, Alabama loses. So
I want all the smoke. I'm here for it. Quentin, don't get hurt.
Right.
I don't care how much money this man Saban's out here shelling. Don't get hurt.
I'm nervous for Texas, man. I think Saban's going to be very angry.
Yeah,
what Saban angry about
the revenge tour. People ain't talking about
SEC. I'm peeping. Lost 2 games last season. He's trying to get back to those playoffs.
Man, you better take a fucking Xanax and chill the fuck out in the corner somewhere.
See, of course, they already have this. Currently, Alabama's a 1-touchdown favorite because this is at Alabama at night. And over-under is a 54 now.
ESPN match position got him at Alabama 80%, 80.9.
That's a lot for. Well, that's a lot. Texas is every year we're like, is Texas bad? And then they win a game and then get smoked the next couple. Texas got to get used to this because you wanted to come to this conference just for the money. You're going to be playing them almost every year.
Yep, starting next year.
And I just realized I looked at Alabama's schedule too. It's really revenge because Tennessee got to go to Alabama this year too. And
Damn.
Oh, man.
Damn.
You already know what they're about to do to them. And they play on 10-21. Tennessee. Oh, that's actually, well, I don't know what LSU's, but they play LSU and Tennessee back to back. Ooh.
Damn, LSU going through it.
I know. And that's at home too. Wait, they get Tennessee and LSU at home? Oh, dang. My God.
Well, shit.
But who you got winning this game, Byron? Texas, Alabama.
I'm torn because of what Texas did last year with their backup quarterback because he literally kept him in the game until Alabama kicked that last second field goal with 10 seconds left to win 20-19. So if Quinn Ewers can play the full game, you know what? I'll pick Texas.
Whoa. Outright. Texas going into Alabama.
Going into Alabama, Quinn Ewers can stay healthy. I know they have most of their offensive starters returning except for Bijan Robinson because he got drafted by Atlanta. and I think they have most of their defensive players returning.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's the same team from last year, except for like 2 pieces. So if you're just gonna stay healthy, I think
you're
Texas
just gonna
can
have
do
to
it.
stay healthy because they don't have their backup quarterback.
Well, they got a new backup quarterback. They got Baby Manning.
That's true.
They don't have a backup quarterback.
Well, he doesn't want to be the backup, but all right. Cedric, who you got? This is Alabama. This is a big game. You already know it's about to go crazy. Atmosphere. Who you got in this one?
I wanted to pick Texas, but then Byron picks Texas, so I'm picking Alabama because I really want Texas to win. But damn it, someone has to pick him on this damn podcast.
Yeah, Texas. Actually, want to know who Texas plays after this game.
Oh, probably not shit.
I hope they're not looking.
Oh no, they play versus
past Texas.
They got Texas plays Wyoming after Alabama.
I was gonna say probably not shit.
Jeez. Oh man, Alabama's gonna lose a game this year, but is this gonna be the one?
I mean, Martin, don't forget, man. This is Nick Saban. His pockets are deep.
That is true.
And it's the last year. The playoffs are going to be at 4, so then he doesn't have to worry about not making the playoffs ever again.
In Alabama, after Texas plays South Florida.
I'm going Alabama because I already know Nick Saban's going to be like, no one thinks we're going to make it this year. Everyone thinks Georgia's it. I just feel like they're just going to play with hell, man. They're going to just... Because... Them boys be talking about Nick now, like, oh, has Nick lost it? I'm like, what'd he lose?
2 games.
2 games. I didn't know 2 games and 7 national championships means you lost your touch.
No, it really is just that Tennessee game. That's when they always talk about, like, man, I know he upset. It's not even him. Because you know he out there telling them boys, look, man, we all know where the ball goes. All right, just make sure he don't catch no more.
That was a legendary game. And that game's also the reason that Jalen Hyatt won the Biletnikoff instead of Marvin Harrison. I mean, that's the game. But I think it's going to be a close. I mean, also last year, they also had a returning Heisman Trophy winner in Bryce Young, Mr. Magician himself, who no one was able to tackle when it really mattered the most in college.
Yeah, if Texas had to tackle him on that last field goal drive, I think Texas would have won.
Yeah.
With a backup quarterback.
Yep.
So we're going to see, man, 7 p.m. ESPN. If you got Spectrum, make sure you find someone who doesn't have Spectrum or use their ESPN login account for you don't know, because Spectrum and Disney, they're going at it. I mean, they're going at it. DirecTV and NBC, they're going at it. These greedy corporations, man, are ruining the fun of college football for just the normal people trying to watch the games.
So you can't even go to a bar. Because bars have DirecTV.
I have to figure this out because I'm going to be out of town that night.
Yeah, you might have to use someone's. That's crazy too. You can't watch any of that. You can't watch Monday Night Football. You can't. When college basketball comes, I doubt it lasts that long. But
oh no, there'll be riots.
I mean, I know it'll be backed by the NBA because they're like, oh no, we gotta make sure the world sees the Lakers.
Facts.
They ain't letting that happen. Oh no.
I think it'll be resolved by Christmas, when NBA on Christmas happens.
Christmas, damn,
Byron, that is 3 months from now.
We'll be talking
It'll
about
probably
who's in
get
the
resolved
playoffs
earlier than that. But if it's not resolved by Christmas, then there's a problem.
If it's not resolved by Christmas, how you gonna watch the college football playoffs?
Martin, by then everyone done pirated everything. Like illegal streaming sites will be up in arms. Everyone's logging into any and everything.
That's great, man. They gotta get that resolved. And I mean, they got to get this stuff resolved here with DirecTV and AT&T with NBC. Because how are you going to again, how are you going to be in the state of Ohio and Ohio fans aren't going to be able to watch OSU versus Notre Dame?
You switch the
Gotta
spectrum.
get that good pick.
But then if you switch the
on the
spectrum,
Peacock
you can do it on the Peacock. But if you watch it on the Peacock app, you can't switch through the channels.
That's true.
Greedy
There's a
corporations, man.
Ruin college football.
Or you get
Who
that
would've thought?
antenna popping.
That's go.
Yeah.
Yep. For the old
Yeah.
NBC, you get the HD antenna. Get them quick. If you haven't, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't bought yours now, make sure you go to Best Buy and buy yours quick.
I have one in the box right now. I'll sell it to anybody, $50.
Well,
I
you
have
diehard
Spectrum, so
fans,
I'm
you
good
might,
with the local.
you might get it. But anything else that you want to speak on the world of the college football? Week one's already down.
It's good.
Good to be
First
back.
week of college football, yes.
Oh, and in case other things, of course, in their last year of existence, the Pac-12 went 13-0 in week one.
Well, yeah.
Every Pac-12 team won their game. Of
That's
course,
a sign.
in their last year of existence.
They're going out with a bang. Might as well.
Well, some of them are going out for sure.
Jeez. Oh, and if you're wondering, the national champs, if you want to watch them, they're on the SEC network, obviously ESPN affiliate, so you can even watch that. They are playing Ball State.
Yeah, buddy.
So,
oh man,
and
I can't wait till we look at their schedule each week to see who they're playing.
I mean, they don't have
Look,
a game that matters until Tennessee.
They really don't. I looked at their schedule. They really don't. Their schedule is such cake. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to L7C Podcast. Buckeyes 1-0 playing. We got the 12 o'clock game on the Saturday, so you can watch that game. Hopefully it's over by halftime, and then you can continue the rest of your day and get ready for Alabama and Texas. That's the big game of week 2. We'll be watching. We'll be back next week reviewing that, and then we're making the way to that week 4 that we already told you about, that there's a lot of big games in week 4. So with that being said, L7C Podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.